That was like the go-to bar, and everybody knew it. But
y'all excuse me for one moment, please.
All right. The night of that fight, though, is when me and Felicia emptied the bar of Smirnoff Ice because that's what she drank.
Yeah.
They ran out. And I ain't a big drinker, but if I was going to go out and party, I'm having fun.
All right. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. That's what we always were. I know. We went that same bar we went into for 10 years plus, so we always had a good time in that place. We had a couple little incidents, but hey, it was always smoothed over,
Were you there because you went after the show. I got a thing to show you. I'm going to put a video up on the screen in a little bit. But the night where Suicide bruised his Achilles.
Oh yeah, where he jumped off the top of that building inside the building.
Watching him trying to go out to the dance floor to dance.
Look at the little old man.
He got to the dance floor about the time the song ended and had to turn around. He was walking 5 feet. It took him 6 minutes to get there.
Yeah, he was hurting.
Suicide after that dive he did off the top.
Yeah.
And actually, Deathrow had told him, don't land on your feet flat. Yeah. He told him that day.
And he went and did it anyway.
Well, I don't blame Suicide for not trusting me after what I did to him in Georgia. But I did try to help the guys out, I always tried to help them.
Oh, you were talking earlier before we got on camera about Bill Alfonso coming to your show and him going, hey, how you doing?
Oh, yeah.
That same show that we did that thing in Commerce, Georgia, Sherry was in the back in the dressing room. And I walk in, and all these young punk kids, and that's all they were. They were like 20 years old.
Yeah.
They were like, ooh, Sherry's here, Sherry. So I go over, beat on the thing. I go, Sherry, you in there? She comes out, gives me a big hug, says, come on back, baby.
Yeah.
So we go back and sit and talk, and I walk out, they're sitting there like, oh, you talked to her,
Starstruck, yeah.
I think Sherry, after that deal with me and Suicide, Sherry had the best comment out of anybody. Because remember, I was late getting to that show. And they had to play my music twice for me to make it to the ring.
Yeah.
And I go out there with Suicide and do the thing. I come back and somebody says Sherry's there. So I run out the back door, run around the building to come in the Babyface side. And I go over there talking to Sherry. And about the time I get there, Suicide has just made it back to the locker room. And then when he walks in, Sherry looks at him and goes, hey, can I ask you a question? And he goes, yeah. She said, why are you starting your career with the end of it?
and she actually explained herself because they had a dumbfounded look. She goes, hardcore is what you do when you can't wrestle or do anything anymore.
Yeah. It's an art, man. It's an art form, man. If you do it right nowadays, you don't even have to get hurt,
What's his name? Lenny?
Yeah. Lenny Mephisto, yeah.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you, if I ever meet the man, I'll tell him, you a crazy, stupid son of a bitch. I saw that bed of nails he had stuck.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was nasty. I was sitting in front row for that.
There's a difference between hardcore and stupidity.
Yeah, it was.
And that one's curtailed the line.
Yeah, I told him, man, I was like, because see, I kind of helped him build the damn thing. All right, so I built this damn thing, and I told him, I said, man, there's only one way I'd go onto this thing, and that would be it leaning in the corner and taking a back bump on it. It's the only way I'm going on to it. I don't give a shit any other way. I ain't doing it. He said at the point in the match, whenever it came to that, he said when he picked him up, he thought, "What the hell am I doing?" He said he tried to come away from it. He said, but it was too late. He landed on it, man. And as soon as he landed, I was like, "Oh, that hurt! Oh shit!" Watch him pull that skin, you know, and it's all like that when he pulls out. I'm like, "Yep, that's nasty
How
as hell."
many stitches did he end up getting?
He didn't end up getting no stitches. They cleaned it out real good and they packed it full of this some kind of gel stuff, and it healed up. He said he couldn't hardly move his arm for a week.
I imagine.
His hand.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a nasty one. It was.
Well, the thing is, though, is they called it the Hardcore Wrestling Association.
No.
Yeah.
And
how much stuff have we walked away from that we shouldn't have been able to?
Oh, a ton, man. A ton.
Yeah. I look back at all the craziness of the crazy stuff. And then I watch these young guys doing this stuff, and I'm like, man, why did I do that? You know, that's my question for myself.
I tell all them young guys that if they're using chairs and stuff, I'm like, hey man, put a hand. Yeah. And they're like, well, that makes it look sweet. I'm like, yeah, trust me, put fucking hand up there, man. I said, when you get to be my age, and when they do a CT on you and they look at you and they say, do you realize how many concussions you've had?
Yeah.
Tell you 16. There's a problem, bro. You know, I said, I mean, I'll take certain things instead, but anymore.
Not to mention all them bulging discs in your neck and everything else, man.
Yeah, I told him, I said, your bump card goes real fast, bro. You don't realize it until you start doing a little stupid shit like that, you know?
Yeah. That's why I never did the stupid stuff like that. I would take calculated risks.
Yeah.
But here, I want to throw you over the top. You hit the floor. No, no.
There's the guy that took the dive off the top of the damn cage with me, 15 foot to concrete. That's the guy talking right there. Yeah, I remember that night. You talking about jerking? Talking about curtain jerking? We jerked the curtain with a cage match.
Oh shit!
He picked you up. Do you think I'm going to be afraid to fall on him and not be caught?
No.
I was going into the ring. He went out of the ring. We come off the top of the cage, and to make it worse, when they set the cage up, they set the panels up upside down, and the barbs were sticking up.
Oh shit!
So we were tangled up in the cage.
I literally had one of the barbs stuck through my pants right at the nut area.
Yeah,
I'm hanging it first, trying to pull off.
Literally having to rip our clothing to get off the top of the cage to take the bumps. So it wasn't a good bump, you know. And he took it to the floor. So he's talking that shit, but we all know that if the show calls for it, we would do it.
We do it. Yeah. That's the thing. We do it.
The other thing, no, I had him in the ring. I trust that man with my life. You know, I have for almost 30 years.
Right.
And I've only almost killed you a few times.
27 times. Well, speaking of that match, Harsh, he comes in, he's got barbed wire wrapped around his arm because this is a barbed wire bat cage match. There's 2 barbed wire bats hooked in the top. Whoever gets to them can use them.
Oh shit.
Now I still got mine sitting right over there. And that was actually from the cage.
I did not use Barbie that night. You should have both bats because I didn't use mine.
Now one bat went somewhere else. I don't know where it went.
We had 2 brand new bats that we wrapped up that night with the barbed wire. And so I took a piece of barbed wire, length of barbed wire, and I did something stupid. I know you can't believe it, but I did. And so I'm thinking, how cool would this be to wrap it around my arm and just go out there and start wailing on it with barbed wire? Well, I wrapped my arm with it, and then I put my suit on, and you couldn't see the barbed wire.
And actually, if you look behind me, I'll raise this up just a tad. There's me grabbing it off the cage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was the poster for the cage match. Yeah,
Wow.
and daggone, so I ripped the barbed wire off of my arm
Oh,
and pull it out, right? And this is real gaucho wire. It's not no gimmick and bullshit, right?
Right.
So we're using gaucho.
Hold on. We
I
asked
pulled
somebody
them.
to bring us barbed wire, and they brought the real stuff.
they brought the gouge.
They didn't bring that
yeah.
rubber stuff like WCW used.
I think they went and cut it out of a cow pasture. I think maybe somebody's cows might have got away that night. Yeah, but so I start whipping him with the barbed wire, and then I come up with this great idea, and I tied it around his neck.
Oh shit!
And I'm grabbing him by the barbed wire, and I'm beeling him with it. I would take him out of the corner and give him a beel with the barbed wire. And then he's looking at me, and I all of a sudden realize that he can't breathe.
It was twisting around my neck.
I've got it tied on, and he can't get it off. And his eyes are starting to bug out, and I'm
Getting
like,
all
oh,
blue and
man.
shit.
So I untied him, and we kept going with the match. But so we go out there. The promoter on the show, number one, really did hate me. He hated me with a passion. And so I infiltrated his show. He feels like that I muscled my way in.
Muscled your way.
And so then when me and Bogie get hot, and we were hot, bro, and this was a big audience, we get this cage match set up, and then this idiot calls it to be the curtain jerk for us to go out and do the cage match first. And we've got WCW, WWF, TNA superstars all in this locker room. We got a lot of big names back there. After we get through with the match, me and Bogie go back upstairs to the locker room, and everybody in there says, well, what are we supposed to do?
Well, yeah.
And David Young.
You got to tell him the same thing. You know, it's like Jerry Lee Lewis said, man, when he walked off the stage to Elvis, he threw his hair back and he said, follow that.
Yeah. Well, David Young looks at Jerry Oates and he goes, what are we supposed to do? And they said, well, we're doing this. And David said, why? There's no audience out there. The audience went home, and sure enough, man, you look out the door.
And then walked out. They said, that was enough.
And they're gone. It's like, one, we did our match, and they were like, we're happy. Yeah. And they hit the door.
That's awesome.
This show we're talking about, Lex Luger was there, Midnight Express. I mean, everybody that worked for TNA in 2004, Ring of Honor. I mean, WCW, Disco Inferno, all these people are there and WWF people, you know, that aren't under contract at the time are down there. And this is the type of stuff we're doing. And these matches are set up bottom to top. These cards are phenomenal. These are cards. Our first anniversary, the main event was Tully Blanchard versus Dusty Rhodes in a cage.
Nice. Hell yeah.
The building capacity was 500, like 520 or something like that. They had over 850 in this building.
Yeah.
Break that fire code. That's the best way.
We did.
And beautiful.
I wrestled Marty Jannetty in that building, and they had these big bay doors. It used to be a diesel mechanic shop, and so they got these big, huge, like 20-foot bay doors in there. Yeah. And when me and Marty went, they had to open the doors and had people standing outside the building watching for us to go. And so I have seen some big audiences in that building, but over at GCW, we consistently filled that building up. It stayed full. And we did some hell of a shows in that place, man. It was fun.
We never had less than 400 or more people in there.
That's the best, man.
And I'll show you pictures. I'll send you a couple pictures. If I had to wrestle one place for the rest of my life, would be in that building.
It was wrestling heaven, man. It was set up for wrestling. Yeah. It was beautiful. Yeah.
It's killer.
That's why I muscled my way in, man. That's why I had to get in there, man.
You were like, I want to be in there.
Actually, if you look, when we do the opening, did you watch the opening of the show?
Yeah.
Okay, the opening, about half of those clips are done in that building.
Right. Hell, it is the building for it then, because it's got the great lighting. It's just.
Did you see the big screen on the back?
Yeah.
That screen was 16 by 20.
Damn.
Big screen.
That's
had
like a Titantron there.
Yeah.
Had a ramped entranceway. The ramp was really good.
Fog, lighting, Disco Inferno come down. They had bubble machines going off. It was hilarious.
The cameras were always good. You had really good camera angles catching all the action. And so I was so happy to just get in there, and be able to perfect what I was doing. I guess that's where I made my biggest shine in the business, was over there. That's where I found myself completely and really became the wrestler that I wanted to be.
Truly became Deathrow.
Yeah. Oh, I was vicious, man. I was scared. I scared the hell out of them people. I did.
You know who Eric Watts is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, his first night in, he choke slams Eric Watts through a table and stands there and says, "Come on." That's how he made his debut.
That was actually Eric's fault. I was under the ring. Nobody knew I was in that building except for Bogie and Eric. And I was under the ring for like 6 hours, dude. And when I come out from under that damn ring, I couldn't feel my legs. And I'm trying to get in there and choke slam Eric. And so when I grab Eric by the goozle and he's trying to give me the timing, right? So he's telling me, not yet. He didn't have to worry. I couldn't have picked him up if my life depended on it. Just went down, fell out. So we're making a little circle, and then I hear the audience. And you touched on this earlier, was being able to hear your audience, right? So you had to be able to hear the audience. Yeah. And I hear the audience starting to rev up. And so then Eric's looking at me and he's going, now, and I'm going, not yet. And he looks at me and then he hears the audience. And he agrees with me. And we go a little bit further, man. And then when I put him through the table, we had the audience completely. We had them. And so and that was a really good way to come in, and probably the worst way in the world he could have done it all at the same time. Yeah. Because I've got a locker room full of people that have already got way bigger of a stature in wrestling than I do. And I just went in and went over on the number one guy before they ever even got to meet me. Right. And there was a lot of animosity in that locker room, man. You could cut the tension with a knife, dude. It was tough.
That's crazy.
You worked with Heath Slater up there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Heath Slater was in there for a year and a half with us when he was known as Heath Miller.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You see how smooth he is?
Oh, yeah.
He was this smooth starting this stuff.
It's just natural for him, man.
I'm up there. We're doing it, drop down, tackle, drop down, and all this. I hit him with the tackle. I go to hit the rope. He just puts his arm out and grabs my foot. I'm dying laughing on the way down, going to hit the mat.
Yeah.
But that was just, everything he did was just smooth.
Yeah.
I loved working him.
Yeah. He's just a good guy too,
Yes.
Down to earth. He just, what about it? He was really good in the locker room. I like guys like that to come in like that. You get guys that come in, they got a little bit of an attitude and think their shit don't stink, but everybody has bad days.
Well, that's another thing about that locker room we had there. You had a lot of egos there, but you didn't see it in the locker room.
Yeah.
Did not. I'll give props to David Young on this one, because when I come in, the people were pretty mad. They were upset about the way I come in. David was like the neutralizer. He kept saying stuff to neutralize stuff, And so Eric Watts left the show, and when he left, Jerry Oates takes back over, and Jerry's going to kill me and send me home. And he's going to use David Young to do it, and David refused to do it. He did. He absolutely refused. And I'm telling him, man, don't get yourself in trouble. I'm already in trouble. Don't get yourself in trouble. And he said, and so then he gets Greg Brown involved, and Greg comes over and says, "You let me worry about Jerry," and then they refused to do it. They wouldn't kill me, and I wrestled there for a lot of years because he refused to kill me.
Yeah.
What Jerry didn't
Had
like
value.
about him is he had a gimmick, and it was basically it was all thriller, no filler. What Jerry thought
Yeah.
until Jerry wrestled him.
That's a whole nother story there.
But
That's some matches like that. Nasty ones.
see,
Turned into a little bit of a fight.
well,
Yeah.
and the difference is the reason I stayed in the South is because this is the wrestling capital, and
Used to be.
I feel sorry for you up there in the Midwest. You know, it's been years since I've seen anything go on. Now, at least Epic up there has got a whole list of dates.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're starting to do something, but
Yeah. And Lenny, look, man, Lenny is probably the hardest working promoter in this area at all. I mean, he's he's talking about running like 30 shows next year. That's good for an independent company,
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
real good.
you know. So
That's really,
he
really good.
pushes. He says that it's his life, you know, and it's crazy because 22 years ago, I trained Lenny. Me and Jeremy Lightfoot trained him, and he had the mind for it. He really did. He was rough coming in. He got his ass handed to him a couple times, you know, but the mind for the business is what totally impressed me with that kid. I call him a kid, you know. Here he is, fucking 38 years
They're all
old.
kids, man. They're all kids.
I know, but you know, he works his ass off to promote this company, man. And I've never seen any other promoter work that hard, you know, to do something. And he cares. He actually takes care of his guys. You know what I mean? He pays. He don't fucking if he asks you to do something and you have a better idea, he'll say, "Oh yeah, do it like that. Then do it." You know, easy to work with. I mean, there's people out there that talk a lot of shit on him, but that's because he don't pull punches. When he talks to somebody, he just says it. Whether it kind of like us, really, you know what I mean? He just says it, offends them, pisses them off. They'll get over it, you know. But it's probably one of the better companies I worked for in a long, long time.
That's great. I'm sitting there looking at us three, and I'm, you know, back in the day, the older
He ain't
guys,
changed a bit.
would come in and they would kind of snub us and you know, like, here's a rookie and all that, and we go out there and have to earn our boots, you know. And then now here we are, we're expecting people to earn their boots. You know, we literally expect them to put forth that effort to become more than what they are. And if they won't put forth the effort, it's time for them to go. You know, it's like
it's true. It's true. I see it all the time. They want it all now too. You know, they want it right now. How long you been a wrestler? And they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been in the business a fucking year and a half," but they're crying about a title shot or they're crying about being early in the card. And I'm like, you ain't even fucking earned it. You're lucky you're even on the card, bud. As far as, you know, I mean, if you're given that opportunity, it's up to you to take a hold of it and build yourself into something with it, you know? And I see how Lenny does it with a lot of the younger guys. That's how he's building them up. You know, he puts like Benjamin Trust. He's one of the newer, younger guys, built like a brick shit house, good looking guy. Lenny helped him build his character, you know, and now he's blowing up and he wrestles everywhere. You know, he's wrestled all the bigger places like OVW. He's been there, you know, and so I'm like, I see what you're doing, Lenny. He goes, yeah. He goes, because I build them up. And he goes, if they get notoriety, then we get notoriety because, well, it came from us, you know? And I'm like, I get it. His mind works completely different than most other guys I've met in the business, you know? But a lot of these young guys, I mean, there's a lot of talent out there. There really is.
Is Al Snow still running OVW?
Yeah, he's still Yeah, we've had a couple guys go down there and wrestle. Kendall Beck, he went down there and worked. There was a few of them. I can't remember all of them, but yeah, I mean, I keep looking at all these young guys, and I mean, there's a lot of talent out there. It's just they need to learn how to tell that story, and they figure that they want 20 minutes. I'm like, well, fuck, if you can't get over and get your shit across in 5 minutes, you ain't getting over in fucking 15.
I'd get my audience making my entrance.
Yeah.
The audience knew exactly who the hell I was before I hit the ring.
Damn straight. That's what I'm saying. I said, you guys have no presence, man. You come out the curtain, you're like, yeah, come on, or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, I go out the curtain and I'm fucking bellowing, and the whole crowd's going, God damn, that dude's loud and fucking big and scary.
Yeah.
Who's he beating the shit out of? So,
that was a young guy we had here. They pulled me out of retirement for a minute to do a little run, and I was running against this guy named Big Grizz. And Big Grizz, God rest his soul, but Big Grizz was exactly what his name sounded like. This guy was a big old grizzly bear, man. He was a monster, dude, much of a man. And so the first time that I'm there, didn't do any advertisement. I just show up, and I'm there, and I'm checking out how the show's running. And so they put me against Big Grizz that night. He makes his entrance, and the audience is cheering him on and all this, and they're all for him. My music started playing, and a woman in the audience looked up and goes, Grizz, you gonna get your ass whooped tonight. The look on his face was priceless. It was like, what?
Oh shit.
But let me explain Big Grizz to you. It took both arms for him to powerbomb you. Grizz could have done it one-armed.
God damn.
This dude was a monster.
Wow.
Yeah, he was legitimate monster, dude. He was monster like you wouldn't believe.
Damn.
And could move and had the best. The night that I wrestled him, I went out there. I knew he was the guy. All the other guys in that show, he had been terrorizing them, and they couldn't do anything with him. So when I went out there, I took him straight to school, brother, and I stayed in his ass the whole match. And when we get back to the back, it was one of those deals where all these young guys back there, nobody would say a word. They're just all sitting there staring, man. They couldn't believe what they had just watched. And Grizz walks into the locker room, stands right in the middle of it, and goes, all right, everybody. He took me to school. That's what happened. He took me to school, and I said, you're my guy. I want to work you more. I got something I can teach you,
I'll have to send you the clip, Harsh, of that chop fest they had.
Oh, yeah.
I put it to you this way. After the third chop apiece, somebody yelled in the audience, give one to the ref, and the ref almost left. That was the look on his face. He's like, hell no.
No, I ain't taking that shit.